Today on Aging Untold, graying hair, hearing loss, and vision problems. Just a few clues of getting older.
You know, we keep chasing this youth thing when instead of embracing the fact that we're doing what's normal.
We'll give you a reality check on the so-called fountain of youth and retirement woes.
Let's think about it. What are the two things that people don't like to talk about? Sex and money.
Here's a growing concern for many people about running out of money before dying. We'll discuss resources that could help bridge the gap. Plus, milestones and memories wiped out by one click.
And discover essentially, I've lost all access to my iCloud and everything in it. Even though I pressed reject.
We give insight into a scam giving hackers access to personal content and solutions to help you keep it under lock and key. Then, Meemaw's making a difference.
They have to be knowledgeable to pick us old people up.
A group of older adults help paramedics with a critical rehearsal for first aid response. Experts with advice and solutions. You're watching Aging Untold with Aging Well Coach Catherine Ambrose, gerontologist Sam Craddock, aging expert Amy O'Rourke, and board-certified physician Dr. Ray Rogers. We're all getting older. It's about time we talked about it.
Welcome to Aging Untold. There are 5 words that can be dreadful. You need a hearing aid, or you really need reading glasses. But that doesn't mean something's wrong with you. It's the normal process of aging. So ladies, what do you think people misunderstand about getting older? Dr. Ray.
Well, I think people get caught up in the number. So age is really just a number, but that's your chronological number. There's another entity of aging that's called biological aging, and that's what your body is doing. That's what really matters.
So here's my thing. People are afraid of dying and they're afraid of getting old.
Oh, yeah.
There's a level of denial across the whole country.
Oh, yeah.
So this anti-aging movement is like fueling the level of denial that we are about getting older. It drives me nuts.
Absolutely, because aging is a normal process. Aging's not a crisis. We have a caregiving crisis. We don't have an aging crisis. It's happening from birth and every day since then.
Right, and how do we get people from, okay, I don't like the way I look anymore, I don't like, to what can I get out of this age? What is the beauty of getting older? What are the other things that benefits of aging, instead of looking at it critically, wrong, bad, because it's really not.
I think they're just looking at the physical as opposed to thinking about what are the intellectual things that happen. You get wisdom, hopefully, right?
We hope that we get smarter as we go.
We do hope that we get smarter as we get older, and we do, but you know, nobody's wanted to age all the way back to Ponce de Leon trying to find a fountain of youth. You know, we keep chasing this youth thing when instead of embracing the fact that we're doing what's normal. And aging, even if it has limitations, isn't wrong. It's just part of being human. It's part of the experience.
And our challenge is looking at the positive side of things.
Absolutely.
There's really cute readers that you can get, for example. Every color.
Love them.
Rhinestones, the whole bit.
Everything can be accessorized. Your walker can get accessorized. Here's something that really happened to me. So I'm in this spa getting a facial, and the gal says to me, hey, I can help you get, minimize your wrinkles. And I was like, I'm working on my insides. I don't care about my wrinkles. I'm working on, who I am as a person and growing spiritually and growing mentally. I don't really care about, not that caring about your wrinkles is bad, but I think focusing on that and not really focusing on your inner work.
What can I impart to someone younger? Is it going to be my looks? I hope not. But could it be my heart, my intellect, what I know, and experiences that I've had? That's what I want to leave. That's what I want to give. And that's what I want to focus on.
Yeah.
In addition to that, you can teach them lifestyle, the things that you do lifestyle-wise that will reflect inside. It starts to show on the outside.
It does. It does, absolutely.
I think people underestimate that maybe I can feel better than I do right now, and just be curious, are there things that I could do that would help me feel better? Some of it's attitude, and so I like to call it the empowered pillars of senior living, or of living. Let's take the word senior. just empowered pillars, which is positivity, adaptability, and resourcefulness. And that's what we're bringing here is resources.
We are aging healthier and younger in our appearances and in our actions.
I think people have to differentiate health span and lifespan. So that
I agree.
you know, so that lifespan is the age you are as we are aging, but health span is the physical condition that your body is in, how healthy you are, and they're different. You can be 90 years old chronologically, and your body be behaving as if you're 70 because that health span, no medical conditions and things
You can
like that.
also be 50 and your body be 80.
Yeah. So it's worth putting effort into.
Definitely worth
absolutely.
putting effort.
You know what's so interesting is there's some tests out there that give you your biological and chronological age, and it's really interesting because it explains why people that, man, he was so young. He was only 50 years old and he dropped dead of a heart attack. But his body age was 90.
Right.
And when you see it, it's like, wow.
I remember meeting an 84-year-old who had gone back to school to become a nursing assistant. And I thought, and that's still with me. I met her years ago, and that's still with me. Like, what a lesson she gave me.
Right.
That
You're
you
never
just
too old.
You're never too old. And her body was old. It looked old. She was wrinkled, but she was really motivated, and she bragged about it. And she ended up getting in the newspaper for it.
But she was also training her mind to stay active.
That's right. And the little lady that I met that used to keep a journal, and she was questioning, where am I spiritually? Like, that's another lesson, like work on those things to really give your family and those around you the benefit of being the age you are.
Yep. And they'll remember you decades after you're gone and be empowered by that. And I love this idea that we're on an earthly journey and making the most out of it.
It turns out the video lived on the iCloud, not my phone, and so I lost it.
Coming up, one click leads to a lockout. How scammers gain access to your iCloud storage and the steps to protect your personal content. But first, no money, more problems.
Anytime you have decisions to make or you want to really assess the situation, you've got to gather information so you can get your head straight about where you are.
The fear many older Americans face as they head into retirement, and how younger generations are doing when saving for their future.
Planning for retirement is what we all should strive for, but saving enough money is a challenge for many Americans. It's also part of the generational divide we're seeing. The average 401k balance for millennials ages 29 to 44 is $67,000. However, Gen Zers who are 28 and younger have a balance of just $13,500. This suggests younger Americans may not be saving enough to meet their retirement needs. Baby boomers are also worried. According to a retirement survey, 81% are concerned about outliving their savings. Amy, why do you think people are running out of money?
Well, okay, let's think about it. What are the two things that people don't like to talk about? Sex and money. And we're talking about money now. So people in general are afraid to talk about their money. And then as you get older, you really don't want to talk about it because then you have to face the fear that you might not have enough when you start having to pay for care.
I think it's because we're living longer. What you saved for and planned for and retired on when you were 65 should have lasted maybe 10 years, 15 years, but now 25 years down the pike, you're still with us. And now your needs are increasing and you're needing more care, then you're outliving what you saved for. So what you saved for here isn't sustaining any longer.
That's right.
Because expenses keep going up as well.
That's
Yeah,
right.
cost of living is going up. So even if what you saved for was good, it's now changed. But what does a person do that has limited care and they have the financial means to?
Well, let's give it some context. I think no matter how much money you have, I've had a person with $5 million say, I don't have enough money to pay for care.
absolutely.
So we'll just like level the playing field and say, no matter how much money you have, people are afraid. People that don't have a lot of money, I mean, there's professionals out there. There's a profession called care management. They can give you an independent consult, look at your money, look at what benefits are available for you, how you can blend your money with a public benefit to pay for care at home or in a community. I think the first step is to really step out and try to find a professional that can guide you, what's available and then how to get it.
Right. What's going to help alleviate fear is information. Anytime you have decisions to make or you want to really assess the situation, you've got to gather information so you can get your head straight about where you are.
There are a ton of resources out there as far as even Medicaid and like IHSS is big in California, in-home supportive services. So for our lower incomes, they get county paid care, and it's a caregiver that comes into the home. You know, caregiving's expensive. Caregiving's, if you need 24/7 care in a private home right now, you're looking at $25,000 a month.
But
every
to
single month.
Ray's point, you got the electric bill. You've got those ideas of electric
exactly.
and water.
So
and
there are
phone
programs that'll give reductions to our seniors and our lower income for their utility rates. You can have your taxes, your property taxes in almost every state. You can have them deferred.
Sometimes the parents want to talk to the kids and the kids will say, oh, Dad, you're going to live forever. Let's don't talk about that. And they think they're being uplifting. But if you're invited into a conversation like that, have it. And then the reverse too, if the kids are worried and they ask questions, engage in those conversations. And it's not a one-time conversation, it's an ongoing,
I agree.
ongoing conversation.
Absolutely.
All
Good
right.
point.
This was great, ladies. And we'll be right back on Aging Untold.
Lights, camera, action for these mature actors, but you won't see them in the movies or on TV.
Well, I just don't feel right.
The acting role that's saving lives. And after the break, a baby's first steps or a college graduation. You store them in the cloud for safekeeping. But what happens when scammers attack? Hackers steal a mother's precious memories. We'll share how to protect what's on your cell phone and computer.
Many of us have countless photos and videos on our iPhones. But did you know even if you back them up on the cloud, you can still lose access and ownership of them? Here's Caroline Hicks with how this happened to one Charlotte mom and solutions to prevent this hack from happening to you.
Many of us have thousands, even tens of thousands of photos and videos on our iPhones.
But did you know even if you have them backed up on your iCloud, you can still lose access and ownership of them? Samantha found that out the hard way.
I was working from home on my computer in a meeting, as many of us are, and I get a notification that someone is trying to log in to my iCloud from Jakarta.
She had no idea what happened next would lock her out of that account forever.
It says accept or reject. I rejected it. 5-10 minutes later, I get an email telling me my iCloud password has been changed. Again, I'm still in a meeting, I'm unable to do anything. 5 minutes later, I get another email saying that my trusted phone number has been changed.
As soon as the meeting ended, she called Apple.
And discover essentially I've lost all access to my iCloud and everything in it. Even though I pressed reject.
Your first inclination is to say no, but the problem is sometimes that might be how they get you.
Cybersecurity expert Teresa Payton says if Samantha's phone was not already compromised, it could have been in that moment.
Always back up, stop and think, because the fraudsters want you to act quickly, and then go to the domain name, that service's website, and then read. If we believe there's fraud, this is how we'll contact you, and just make sure you work within their processes.
Payton says it's easier than ever for hackers to get away with this.
You name it, some company with your information has had a data breach, and that data breach is just sitting out there for AI algorithms and fraudsters to just run programs and just see if they can trick one person.
She also lost tens of thousands of precious memories.
The video of my son meeting my daughter when I brought her home from the hospital, photos of them running around the house.
Content she thought she would still be able to download from her phone.
And I went back to the video, and it turns out the video lived on the iCloud, not my phone, and so I lost it.
She also lost a sense of security.
Pictures of my kids were no longer mine, and I had no control over it, and Apple wouldn't do anything.
If you have content on your phone you do not want to lose, you should consider backing it up on an external hard drive. I contacted Apple. They did not comment about this specific incident, but they did suggest turning on stolen device protection in your iPhone settings. It creates a security delay, so if someone is trying to change your password, they'll have to wait an hour and then perform a Face ID or Touch ID authentication.
Oh, these tricky, tricky people. What they could maybe accomplish if they had good deeds in mind instead of bad deeds.
Right. I am literally flabbergasted, and I think the first thing I'm doing after I leave is buying a hard drive because I have thousands and thousands and thousands of videos and photos.
I'm just floored because I'm not really good at IT. I have no clue, so I can't even imagine people who are older.
I have to tell you, sometimes my mother might go into the phone store to get help, and they can sometimes be dismissive.
Sure.
And I would say, don't give up, or take a family member with you, ask to speak to someone else, try a different store, like, you know, just keep going.
High schools, colleges, community colleges, universities, even a computer store to say, where do you send people that need tech help? Because I'm sure they start with you first.
Heck, go to an elementary school anymore. They're better than we are.
Well, know that we're all learning all of this together at every single age.
And take somebody with you, especially for the older person. Sometimes it's repetition, so take somebody with you, a family member, so they can hear it also, and then they can continue to teach you.
Right.
Yeah,
after you're
absolutely.
there.
Right, that's right.
Absolutely.
And don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Or if you are afraid, grab somebody that isn't afraid.
Right.
Well, and I was thinking about that mom who lost her videos and photos, wondering if she got them back. But if we're sharing our photos and videos with friends and family, they have copies of those things as well.
Exactly.
Still ahead, a grand response.
Well, I just don't feel right.
My back of my neck is bothering me.
Confused and dizzy.
More on the Meemaw Brigade and the unique training experience they provide for paramedics and firefighters.
Just outside St. Louis, a group known as the Meemaw Brigade plays a critical role in the community. These safety-minded grandmothers and grandfathers help first responders train to do their jobs more effectively. Steve Harris shows us how the creative role-playing could help save lives.
Well, I just don't feel right.
My back of my neck is bothering me.
Confused and dizzy.
We're going to look for signs of a stroke.
Don't worry, 81-year-old Sophia and 90-year-old Vito are going to be fine.
All right, just going to check your blood sugar real quick.
Fact is, there's nothing wrong with them.
Hold your arms out like you're holding a pizza.
They're members of the Meemaw Brigade. It's a cute name for grandma, and in this case, a training acronym for first responders. They're helping paramedics from the St. Charles County Ambulance District
I felt like a snap or something.
acting out medical emergencies.
The geriatric populations are our #1 fall patients. So what I like to do is actually use real life patients, and they came out and volunteered with us.
New Perspective in Weldon Spring is one of 3 senior living facilities hosting the EMTs this month.
Yeah, I think it's great.
Sophia Bax volunteered for the Meemaw Brigade. She's playing the part of someone with sepsis.
They have to be knowledgeable to pick us old people up.
Can you wrap the shoulder or anything like that?
And Vito's role? A guy who fell in the shower.
There's a lot of 20-year-old paramedics that have never spoken to a geriatric patient before. You can give scenarios all day long, but when you actually have a 80-year-old patient staring at you and answering your questions, it's a lot more real life.
So we always treat for the worst case scenario and then go from there.
These paramedics will be ready when it really matters.
And we're good.
Thanks to the Meemaw Brigade.
Wow, I love that.
I can't love that enough.
I know. I don't know where to start with. The people that got the older people training, like to be that aware of how important it is to understand the older person, or the volunteers themselves.
The problem we have, and I see it all the time, is our paramedics are ill-equipped. They don't know, because they're not dealing with this population, but they're dealing with them all the time.
Yeah.
So they don't understand them. And to give that training, that's amazing. And the purpose that it's giving these older people to be out there and be able to contribute and help, that's amazing.
It just reminds me of just going through the training, medical training and all that, and so many times we miss it. So our training, the same as the paramedics and all that, they're not teaching them. They're going by their didactics, what they're learning on the paper, taking the test and all that. But sometimes it's not practical because it doesn't go across all ages and all that.
Right.
So they're not seeing that. So this is awesome.
This is spectacular. I mean, whoever thought of the program, my hat's off to them.
Award.
Absolutely.
And then think about the diseases or the problems that they have to mimic. They have to understand sepsis. They have to understand the shoulder. So they're learning about different.
The skin, just something as simple as seeing an older person's skin in real life and understanding the fragility of it as a paramedic.
Well, as a paramedic, I'm thinking about the older person. Like she's saying sepsis, I think someone probably taught her what sepsis is if she didn't know. I just was like in awe of that.
Yeah.
Or him, the shoulder being, maybe he fell. You know, maybe
can you
he
wrap
understands.
it?
Yeah.
Can you wrap it?
Can
you do something to support it? And then to watch the younger paramedics getting that experience and how well equipped they're going to be. We do have so much more of an older population, and it's going to continue. So that kind of training's amazing.
I loved their improv, and I bet they have a lot of laughs with
I
their
bet
friends
they
about
do.
what their day at work was like.
Oh, honey, all of our older ladies love to have those young paramedics coming in the room anyway. So this is, I'd be volunteering at that point. Let's go.
But that's the thing that keeps you lively, is engaging and seeing how you can help. And we need a lot more of that in society, is bringing older people in to help
Be our
train.
mentors.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We don't talk enough about aging and what to expect, and that's why we're here, to embrace it and talk about it together. Until next time.
On the next Aging Untold, the connection between poor oral health and cognitive decline.
There's actually a bacteria, P. gingivalis, that has been found in the brains of people with Alzheimer's.
We'll explain why there's a higher risk of dementia later in life for those lacking dental care and how you can avoid the risk.
All right, welcome back to KCTV5 Plus. It is Bill Hurlbrink alongside Kerrigan Arnold and the one and only Shane. Sorry, I totally said the one and only Shane after I said Kerrigan, so I'm really sorry about that.
Listen, we're still gonna do the air horns though.
There it is. There it is. Live look over the Country Club Plaza. Have you guys been out to see the bunnies yet?
No.
There they are. You see the bunnies down there.
Look, and there's a dinosaur wearing a hat.
I think that's a turtle.
Okay, all right, just kidding.
Well, would you look at that?
Would you look at that? I mean, we're off to a rip-roaring start here on the My KC Live After Show here on KCTV5 Plus. Again, Shane Kanicki and Kerrigan Arnold with us. How are you guys doing this morning?
Good.
We had an episode of Aging Untold here that just aired. Yes. One of the bigger things that I found on this was protecting our digital footprints, because there was a story about a gal who altered pictures of her grandkids and everything on her iCloud, and then it got hacked, and then Apple wouldn't get her any of her pictures back. So good tips on maybe putting those pictures onto a digital hard drive or what's it called, a portable hard drive.
Yeah.
So you don't lose those pictures of your grandkids. You don't want to lose those, right?
I need to do that. I have so many pictures on my phone.
Of your grandkids?
Well, I don't have those yet.
Your dogs.
My nieces and nephews and of my dogs.
Yeah.
Yes. And if those were to be lost, I would be unwell.
Yeah.
It seems like a little bit of a hassle too to have to go and this is just me. I'm sure there's a very, very easy way to just put them all into something.
Sure.
But like even just that little step, I'm like, they'll be fine.
Yeah. But it's always good to have conversations with our parents, with our grandparents about the best way to protect their footprint, because a lot of the times those are the people who are most easily scammed out there, and we want to make sure our parents don't lose any money, and especially in those pictures are very important, right?
I have to tell my mom all the time, I'm like, what you see online isn't always accurate.
That's right.
We have to be very careful and cite our sources.
Always check with your grandkids, probably your grandkids first, then your kids.
Yeah, no, honestly, I think she would do better asking her grandkids first.
My kids know more than I do just about the internet anymore, it seems like. So, all right, well, let's bring it back to My KC Live now. You guys just got off the air at 10 o'clock, had the KC Improv Company on the show today. We got a little bit of video from that. Tell us about them, and then tell us about, apparently we're going to do an exercise here of this.
Okay, so they basically came on. That's us kind of playing this game that we, like you were talking about here in a second. But they came on because they're moving locations. They've been in one spot for a little bit here, and so they're going to have a different spot. They're still kind of looking for, I think, their permanent home. But they're going to be moving to some place where they're going to be hopping around a little bit. I think it was a Black Box Theater, and I can't remember exactly where they were located. But check them out on social media, because they're going to be posting all of that stuff too if you're big fans of it. But we played a game today. I think it was called Word in the Middle.
Yes, Word in the Middle.
So here's the deal. So the goal of it is that we're trying to get to the same word. So you say 3, 2, 1, and two people say a word right at the same time.
Okay.
And you use those two words to sort of find a common word for the next two people that get to play. So.
Oh wow.
So yeah, it started with me and Shane. Then for me and Shane, it went to me and Tim, and then for me and Tim, it went to Tim and Chef Jill, and then it went to Chef Jill and Shane, and we just kind of went in a circle with it. But the goal was, to end up on the same word.
Yes.
So before we do this, how long did this take you to get to the same word?
We didn't.
Oh, you didn't? Okay, great.
Yeah, so quick update, we didn't get to the same word until commercial break.
Oh, but you did get there.
We did get there.
Okay.
Yeah. Because the word started with, what did I said? Oh, you said flower,
and you said chinchilla, which was a tough starter.
He told me to pick a random word.
Yeah.
And so I did.
And chinchilla was the first word that came into your mind?
It is the first thing that popped into my noggin, yes.
Okay.
But we thought we might, if you're game, Bill, we might try it here and see if we can make this happen. Would you
yeah, I'd be game for this. We can try this, and I wish we could have people play at home. I wish they could just type in words here in the comments or something like that. Might be kind of fun. So you guys go ahead and do that, and we'll try it. So how does this work again? Do you and I
so
like what
Shane
order
and I
are we going to go in?
Okay. So what we'll do is we're going to look at each other and we'll count down from 3. We'll go 3, 2, 1, and then we both say a word.
Yes.
Okay.
And then from that, you and I will then count down, but we want to try using the two words that we've said. We have to come up with
an equitable word,
kind of something that you both could land on the same word with, and the other two words are sort of the clues.
So like for example, let's just say, out of craziness, you Kerrigan, you said egg, and like Shane said breakfast, and then the next maybe I would say chicken.
Yeah.
Because there's a similarity between the two, possibly. Or omelet or something.
So something to wear. Yeah.
Got it. All right. I'm down for this.
Okay.
I think I'm on board. Yep. This is going to be insanely crazy, but it's going to be fun.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, man. Okay.
All right. 3, 2,
1.
Coffee.
Ocean.
So I heard coffee and what?
Coffee and ocean.
Ocean. Okay.
So then, Bill, now you and I will count to 3, and
All
we
right.
have to say a word that we think fits coffee and
An ocean. Okay.
3,
1, 2,
2, 1.
beans.
Liquid. What did you say?
Beans.
Beans and liquid.
There's beans in the ocean?
Maybe. If somebody dropped their coffee in the ocean.
Beans in the ocean. Beans in the ocean.
So
Cake by the
now-
ocean.
So now
That's a song.
Bill has said
Yep.
beans. I
Beans by
said
the ocean.
liquid.
Yeah. So
You
now-
can't say coffee.
Oh, you can't go back and say
You
your
can't say one of the OG words. So now you two have to
And you
beans
said-
and coffee.
No, beans and
Oh,
liquid.
beans and
Beans and
liquid.
liquid.
Beans and liquid.
Okay. All right.
So count it down.
3, 2, 1. Tea.
Steam.
Oh.
What did you say?
Tea. It's close.
Steam and tea. Yeah. Okay, so now it's me and you.
Oh. Okay.
Okay.
Steam and tea. Oh. Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Bag.
Oh, what was it?
Bag and cup.
Cup. Okay. Ready? Who's next?
It's
Me
you
and
two.
You.
3, 2, 1. Kettle.
Filler. I couldn't think of a word. What did you say?
I said kettle.
Filler and filler.
Filler.
Well,
Dragging us back.
I'm sorry, guys.
Oh,
I
man.
didn't have
Filler.
that one down.
All
Filler
right.
and kettle. Filler and kettle.
I don't think we're gonna land on this.
No.
Yeah. Okay, I got maybe I'll try one. Let's just try a couple more rounds and we'll see if we can
Okay.
get any closer here.
Filler and kettle.
All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Box.
Boil.
I don't know. I was thinking of a box of tea. I didn't have time. You said
Box?
boil and box?
Boil and box. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. All right.
Should we go with the B's? Let's just give
This
ourselves.
is that. We're
Let's
trying to
take
get
26 letters
boil
out
and-
and
boil
just
and
take
box.
25 out
Oh
of them.
my gosh, we're getting further away. Boil and box. Boil and box.
3.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Okay. Well, no, it's not gonna work, but it's not gonna be. Okay, ready?
3, 2,
2,
1.
1.
Cook.
Sauna.
Okay, close. So anyway,
So
the
as
goal
you can
is
see,
Improv.
We're not
the improv. So
Improv.
is this a game that they play at the improv, or is this something that they try to do to maybe to stir like compatibility when people are improvising together on stage? Or how does this work?
I think it's kind of an exercise they do in their classes just to kind of get you to start thinking, but then to kind of have that chemistry and have that fun.
Because when he was kind of pitching ideas, he said, "Do you want heady or do you want like really interactive?" So they've got ones out there. Like I think the last time they came, Kerrigan had to share like an embarrassing story, and she narrated it while we acted it out, and we didn't know what was coming next. And
So many to choose from, Kerrigan. I just don't know where you start.
The one that you know is not the one that I told.
Oh.
I told the story of breaking my tailbone by kicking myself.
Which is
Okay.
one you haven't heard.
I have not heard that one. No, I'm gonna have to go back and look in the archives for that one now, though. So, but
Happens to the best of us.
it does. Well, what else did you guys have on the show here today? The improv was obviously great. Chef Jill was here, who I saw had a kind of a not a cheater dumpling recipe, but kind of an easy dumpling recipe.
Yes, it was. What did she call it? Like blanket dumplings.
Yeah.
Yep.
So no, she showed us how to make those. They were so good. Warren was obviously on set with us, so then he jumped in and ate some of those.
Yep.
Warren jumped in and ate free food.
Yeah,
I don't believe it.
I mean, here's the
shocking,
thing.
right? Who'd have thought? But no, so we had Chef Jill was there. Chicken Salad Chick came on the show. We
Oh,
kicked
yeah.
things
It's
off
delicious.
with them.
Of course, Strong Fitness was on with us to help sort of burn some of the calories that we
Yeah.
were consuming off of there.
Arvist came in and they were talking about their kind of partnership with the World War I Museum and Memorial.
Oh yeah, I saw Matthew Naylor was on the show today.
Yeah. So they were joining us. They were also talking about obviously their centennial celebrations because this is the museum's 100th anniversary,
And the
then
country's-
obviously
yeah.
the country's 250th.
Yeah.
So they were talking about that, and then we also had Addie Shamir come on. She was showing us how to make a really great morning smoothie that is good for just your gut,
Yeah.
all the things. It's good for all the things that are in your body.
Yep.
I got two questions to
Okay.
get us through the next few minutes here, but I wanted to know about the trainer who came on today.
Yeah.
I mean, we're into March now, so like, is there anybody out there who still has those New Year's resolutions going of like losing weight, starting over in the new year, and becoming a new you or whatever by spring break? Because spring break for a lot of us is next week.
Yeah.
You know, so like, what was kind of his message to people trying to lose weight or stay active?
It was a bit of like because he was saying if you did start with your New Year's resolution and you've gotten to this point, you've hit a plateau. So he was kind of talking about taking those exercises that you're already doing, but changing the rhythm of them. So instead of doing, three sets of 15 of squats, do one set of like 10, but go down slow. So don't do your normal squats. Don't do it at that regular speed. Instead, time and tension, I think, is what he was saying.
Time under tension? Yeah.
Yes, for your core.
Yeah,
Okay.
and he the way that he described it was kind of cool too,
Oh,
because
yes.
it's momentum, you know, that you've got going on both like in your mind and in your body, because if you mix it up a little bit too, your body's going to respond a little bit better. But he was saying too, with the core, because it's core strong fitness, like he said, without your core, because he focuses a lot on that, it's like, what did he say, shooting a cannon
out of a canoe.
Oh, yeah, that's
It's not
a
going to
poor
go
choice.
far.
Yeah, so if you don't strengthen your core, you don't have that foundation to be able to do other stuff too. So focusing on your core, mixing it up a little bit to stay motivated, and then also mixing it up to see better results over time too.
And then finally, I wanted to talk a little bit about, again, Matthew Naylor was on the show. He is the president of the World War I Museum and Memorial. Of course, they had a brand new exhibit that just opened, I believe, over the weekend.
Yes, he mentioned that as well. In the line that was like wrapped around the building was insane. I saw Zach Summers had posted it on his, I think his Instagram over the weekend. And I was just like, wow, because it's those OG documents that you were super excited about.
I'm a huge history nerd, and so the fact that a lot of those are there, like obviously, because I asked, I was like, is it the real Declaration of Independence? And he was like, well, that one probably is going to hang around Washington, D.C. for a little bit.
Yeah, you
but
think so.
It's some of the copies that were made right around the same time that got distributed as well. And so you can see that. You can see George Washington's signature down there, Thomas Jefferson's signature, like a lot of really, really cool pieces of American history at like the perfect time, right? The 250th anniversary of the
Which
nation.
obviously everyone was also just as excited about this the way that you were, because again, that line that was like, they're like ready to go, ready to get in there. I remember when they joined us on the show to talk about the fact that the exhibit was coming.
Yeah.
Well, he also mentioned too a little sneak peek of what's going to happen July 4th as well. He said it's obviously going to be way bigger than last year. There's going to be a lot of fireworks, going to be a lot of cool stuff. The World Cup obviously around the same time too.
Yes,
so.
Shane made sure to ask very quickly. He was like, lots of fireworks. And
and
Matt was like, yes, there's going to be a lot of fireworks, rest assured.
And for those people who don't understand what this is, I had the chance to take my family to the National Archives over the summer. And I mean, talking about seeing portions of American history, I mean, those panels there on the left side, that is the actual signed copy of the Declaration of Independence. And you literally are just inches away from that document. So the fact that we can see some of these replicate, and they are replications, they're engravings of it or whatever, you know, right here in our own backyard. You know, my son was taking pictures of it.
Of course.
Luckily, he had his Freedom shirt on while he was
that's awesome.
He was checking it out, you know. But yeah, being able to see these founding documents that have now lasted for 250 years, and it's nothing more iconic than to look down on that parchment and see "We the People," you know.
Cool.
And now that it's here in Kansas City,
it's just so exciting, without a doubt. Like the fact, again, like you're saying, you had to travel to go see those things, but now you're able
it's here.
to.
Yeah, it is so
and
cool.
guys, I'm pretty excited for you to be here for this moment. We're going to kind of change subjects real sudden because our news director just walked over and handed me his phone. Travis Kelce staying in Kansas City for a 14th season.
Yeah! Boom!
Incredible news. So this is according to Ian Rappaport. Travis Kelce is going to stay with the Chiefs and play in Kansas City for the 14th season. He was obviously a third-round pick by the Chiefs back in 2013. Hall of Fame career. He missed a lot of his rookie season due to a knee injury, but obviously has been like teammates, best friends with Patrick Mahomes over the last several years. Pretty crucial for the Chiefs to go to the Super Bowl so many times over the last 6 years and win, what, 3 of them? 2 of them? I can't even remember. They won so many. 3 of them because they won in 20, 20 then back-to-back.
It was just
they just couldn't get 3 peat. That's right.
Yes.
Wow. Well, that's great news.
Listen.
Shout out our news director, Josh Morgan, who just brought the phone over, and we could break that news right here on KCTV5+.
That is exciting.
Yeah, very neat. I'm so excited about that. That makes me happy because the free agency starts Wednesday, and he could have gone wherever, and allegedly there was different teams trying to lure him to different spots around the country.
I don't think so.
I don't think he would have gone.
I don't think he would leave Andy Reid and Mahomes.
Yeah, I think that.
I don't think
not
he'd
for
leave.
a final season.
No,
for that to be,
no.
That partnership is pretty solid. I wouldn't. I think he likes Coach Reid too much. I think he appreciates playing under him his entire career, and I don't think there's a lot of players that do that anymore. Stay in one place for their entire career. They have one head coach, I think, for their entire career.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So
and it would just be
pretty
so
remarkable.
weird if for the last season
He's
he was
wearing
like,
somebody else's
that would
jersey.
all of us would be like,
Plus
what
the
are you
shorthand
doing?
he has with Mahomes is not going to be found in 1 year with some other quarterback.
Exactly. So I mean, the improvisation those guys do on and off the field, like with their golf game, and then what they do running routes out there and playing backyard football in the NFL is kind of neat. So
that's exciting.
That's exciting news right there. Yeah.
Cool.
So. All right, well, guys, before we let you go, I asked you this last time and you weren't prepared. So, do you know what's coming up on My KC Live tomorrow?
I do. Jana Meister's going to be on
I
the
was
show.
like, you do?
Yeah. Nikki Vivas is going to be on the show.
Nikki, all right.
Talking about, are you looking it up right now?
Yeah.
Nikki Vivas, Jana Meister, Lucky 13 is also going to be on the show.
Lucky 13, which I love that rescue so much. They're talking about their St. Patrick's Day 5K, which, of course, when they come in, they're bringing an adoptable pup.
How exciting.
So excited for that.
Yep.
There's more.
Nikki, I said was going to be on the show. She's going to be dropping.
Yes, she
on the
typically
Nikki
comes
B.
on Fridays, but last Friday we weren't able to have her on, so we're having her on tomorrow to talk about all the fun things that are happening. We're spilling the tea.
Yep.
All right.
Jana Meister with all of the different looks and feels for the
Jana,
this
she
season
is
as well.
one of the best fashion bloggers here in KC.
Yeah.
She's got her finger on the pulse of what's trending with clothing, so she will be joining us as well with some different fun looks.
All right, fantastic. Well, we are going to take a quick break here. We'll be back with a look at your forecast, your first Warren 5 forecast with Warren Sears, tracking a couple first Warrens this week. Okay, do your air horns.
Oh, okay. Bunnies
Impressive.
and turtles.
All right, bunnies
Warren,
and
that's a
turtles.
turtle.
It's lots of sunshine out there, at least right now, so I like turtles too.
I like turtles.
All right,
Okay.
Zombie Warren is up next. Stick around.
That's the tee up for Warren.
We'll be. Can I say we're leaving now and we'll be right back?
Yeah,
Will you guys
yeah.
shut? No, just
Yeah,
kidding.
sorry.
Yeah.
We'll be right back.
Hey everybody, happy Monday. I'm First Warren 5 meteorologist Warren Sears. What a spectacular Sunday and Monday we have in store. Yesterday was so nice in the 60s. Today, we're going to add about 10 degrees on top of what we saw yesterday. It might be a bit breezy at times, but sunshine and upper 70s for your Monday afternoon. So definitely a day to get out and enjoy. We do have quite the roller coaster of temperatures this week. Big cold front comes in tomorrow night. So that's also going to help stir up the atmosphere a little bit and give us thunderstorm chances as well. So back on your Tuesday, a first warning is in place for that next risk for some strong to severe storms. So I know it's only been a few days, but we're getting into that time of the year. The right ingredients are in place in our atmosphere, and we are already keeping close tabs on tomorrow. So we have a lot to talk about here. Let's get to it. I do want to first start with today because, again, as I've already gloated over, today is so nice. And I even think we could hit a record high temperature out there Monday afternoon. We're talking 77 degrees is your forecast high, and normal is 53. So just soaring well above where we should be for early March standards. Then on Tuesday, our next first warning is in place. That is also our next severe storm threat. As I mentioned, this is going to bleed over from Tuesday night into early Wednesday morning as well. I do want to show you the kind of Wednesday window as well. We've got three things, kind of three talkers here. The warmth today, the severe storm threat on Tuesday into the evening, and then it transitions over. We have to watch for a flash flood, localized flash flood threat on Wednesday morning. That's if batches of rain and thunderstorms continue to track over the same area, which is a possibility. It's going to be fairly localized, as I mentioned, fairly isolated, but some spots could pick up multiple inches of rain in a pretty short amount of time. That's why we have that first warning in place as a heads up on your Wednesday. So a couple of stir-ups, as I mentioned, to the atmosphere and to the forecast. But today, no problems, no issues, really no clouds, abundant sunshine out there this afternoon. 77 is your forecast high, but we'll probably already be into the 70s by, I would say, noon, maybe 1 o'clock. Let's see where we're at currently sitting at the airport. Right now, we are hanging on to 60. So, yeah, I would say probably going to take another hour, 2 hours to get into the 70s. But by this afternoon, you'll notice a warm day ahead, low 70s, eventually to the mid to upper 70s. Some of you might even be lucky enough to push 80 degrees out there today. And look at 11 p.m. We're still holding on to 64. We have a southeast breeze today. It's about 10 to 20, but it will gust a little stronger up to 25. Not anything super dramatic, but definitely noticeable out there into your afternoon and early evening. As I mentioned, we are going to near record warmth today. 77 is your forecast high. The current record daily high temperature for today, which would be March 9th, is 77. That was set back only 5 years ago in 2021. So we'll see if we hit 77, we'll tie it. If we obviously break 77 to 78 or above, we would break that record this afternoon. So we'll see how things pan out. But everybody, even all the way up to the Iowa state line, if you're watching this in the KCTV coverage area, you will hit at least 70 today, but I think most of us in the mid to upper 70s. And then there are signs that near and south of I-70, you might be able to trickle into the lower 80s out there for today. Maybe even needing the air conditioning. I know, hard to believe and funny to say, but especially when we're talking relative temperatures compared to lately. It's been warm, but we haven't really been this warm. Low 80s out there will be the first for a lot of us, especially to the south, if we can even get there. So, again, shattering normal highs by almost 30 degrees in some spots, but a lot of us 25 to 30 degrees above normal. That is today. Tomorrow is dry through most of the day as well into tomorrow night. Now, after about 4 p.m., we're going to give a small chance for a random pop-up shower or maybe a thunderstorm. But as of now, with the data coming in, I'm seeing signs that after 8 p.m., after 7, 8 p.m., that chance for thunderstorms is going to increase pretty quickly and will be pretty steep out there into the afternoon, or late evening on Tuesday. And then that's going to bleed over into the early overnight. So it's kind of a later as the day goes on type of an event out there tomorrow. And this is the latest data coming in this morning. So again, mostly sunny all day out there on your Monday. And then even tonight, I think we're going to be mostly clear. We'll start the day potentially with a little fog out there. I think the air is going to be pretty humid. A lot of moisture back as a warm front lifts back into the area. So it'll not only be warm tomorrow, but it'll also be pretty humid and also pretty windy as well at times, especially into the afternoon. You might encounter a few spots of patchy fog to start the day, but generally our computers are suggesting some sunshine into the afternoon, kind of a partly cloudy sky. if we can get that, that will give us some fuel for some thunderstorms to get going in the afternoon, early evening. Here's one thing that we are watching for, though. You've heard us mention it a few times before. It's something called a cap that develops in the atmosphere. It's basically like a little lid. Sometimes it just depends on, they can form in different ways, but more stable air aloft, you can get a little bit of a temperature inversion where you're actually a little bit warmer a couple thousand feet off the ground, and so that can inhibit thunderstorms to form until they get powerful enough. We do expect to break that cap at some point in the afternoon, early evening on Tuesday. This that you're seeing on radar right now, I think, is all just some scattered showers. I don't think anything is, again, robust enough to burst through the cap in the vertical direction. However, by about, let's throttle this back to maybe 6. By about 6 p.m., 7 p.m., 8 p.m., we are seeing signs that happens, the cap breaks, and those thunderstorms, as soon as that happens, will be able to grow pretty quickly. Now, if you look here, you can tell the coverage is a little bit more spotty and isolated with the stronger cells, but we still think that, again, a few of you will be able to encounter strong thunderstorms tomorrow. It's not going to be across the entire board. It's not like a big line of storms like we had Friday night, but a couple of robust, strong individual cells are possible here. And it would pose, if these can get going, it would pose all threats out there later in the day on Tuesday. And we expect, I would say, from 7 to midnight. That's kind of the window that we're going to be watching for that strongest activity, that higher chance for severe weather. Once you get to midnight, likely losing a lot of the steam here, but there still could be some pockets of real heavy rain dancing around radar into Wednesday morning. If that late day, early Thursday morning stuff continues to track over the same area, that's where we could have a little concern with some localized flash flooding. If it doesn't, it becomes less of a concern. So hopefully that's the scenario that ends up panning out. But the overall risk for severe weather is there. It's just a little lower than what we had on Friday, but still a 2 versus a 3. I mean, we're seeing pretty healthy chances regardless of what zone that you're in. The reason that the level 3 enhanced risk across northeast Missouri is there, the reason that it was upgraded to a 3, there is a slightly higher risk for some rotation and some of the thunderstorms in that vicinity. So that would give us a little bit of a higher tornado threat out there on Tuesday. So just keep that in mind. Now, I'm not saying there's no tornado risk in the Kansas City metro, because we still could see all hazards with this setup. But again, the slightly higher favorable environment is going to be across north central and northeast Missouri for a few of those storms to be on the stronger to severe side that can rotate. So damaging winds, large hail, and even a tornado possible. All of that is on the table later in the day Tuesday, depending if we can break that cap and depending on how robust those thunderstorms can get, and also the timing on all of this as well. We get too late into the evening to break that cap, then the severe risk would start to fall off a little bit. But again, something that we're watching really closely for tomorrow. Each computer run that we have coming in is giving us a better picture of how the event is going to pan out. So that is something to watch for out there on your day tomorrow. Again, into Wednesday morning, that's when we could have a little bit of that localized flash flooding as well. That's why the first one was added to Wednesday. Generally, the risk for rain, it completely falls off for most of Wednesday. This would be like an overnight into the really early part of the morning out there. So a couple of things to watch for after your potential record heat out there today. Other than that, the front that comes in tomorrow night, yeah, it's going to definitely take a hit into your early morning on Wednesday. Look at that, 53 for a high Wednesday. Back to the low 60s, though, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and eventually back to the low 50s on Sunday. That is a look at your latest forecast. Thank you for joining me here. I'm sending it to a quick break, and Taylor will be right back in just a second.
All right, we have some breaking news for you here on KCTV5 Plus. The sun shining down brightly on Arrowhead Stadium this morning because we have received a report that Travis Kelce is returning to the Kansas City Chiefs for a 14th season. So this is according to NFL reporter Ian Rappaport. The tight end will stay with the Chiefs and play in Kansas City for that 14th season. And Kelce, a third-round pick. He played in the Kansas City area for several years. We know him to be a fan favorite. He joined the Chiefs in 2013 and became a franchise icon and one of the most recognizable players in the sport throughout his Hall of Fame career. He is the NFL record holder for postseason receptions and Super Bowl receptions and trails only Hall of Fame wide receiver Jerry Rice for most receiving yards in playoff history. Also, as we know, he's been no stranger to the spotlight either, hosting his own dating show and co-hosting his podcast New Heights starting in 2022 with his brother Jason. The podcast also preceded his relationship with music superstar Taylor Swift, whom Kelce got engaged to in August ahead of his final season. And here to talk with us all about it, of course, we had to bring in our sports director, Marlia Campbell. What a day it is. I know this has been like the lingering question for months now. And now I feel like, you know, you guys in the sports department can finally just, you know, rest on that a little bit.
Yeah, no matter who you are in Kansas City, I think you had a strong opinion either way on which this was going to go. A lot of people thought he was going to retire. He's marrying Taylor Swift, as you mentioned, this summer. He has every resume accomplishment you could ask for, 3 Super Bowls. He is a shoo-in for a first ballot Hall of Fame nominee. So what left does he have to prove? However, what we've learned from Travis Kelce over the years is it's not about those numbers. It's not about the resume. He just loves playing football. We saw this report from Diana Rosini yesterday that maybe he was going to sign with someone else. I think us in the sports department thought, I don't think that's going to happen. He was set to hit free agency on Wednesday, so we knew we would get an answer kind of soon. So yeah, big announcement today. With what happened with Patrick Mahomes going down to that ACL tear against the Chargers, same day the Chiefs are eliminated from playoff contention, Neil Jones, myself, the folks in the sports department here were like, man, I don't know if he's willing to go out like that.
You know what? I should join the sports department because I thought the same.
You knew he was going to be that, yeah.
I'm like, that's no way that you're going to go out that, you know, your right-hand man is down, not even able to finish the season.
Yeah.
You had the ending that you had, like, I knew he was going to stay.
Yeah, and you know, he talked about how his brother Jason went a year too early and had another year left in him. Kelce did not pop up on the injury report once this season. Granted, he had his bumps and bruises, as all NFL players do. However, there were no significant injuries that he was rehabbing from. You're 14 coming up here. So what does that mean for Kansas City? Well, we're entering a window where we need to know where they are at over the cap space. They were a little bit over with the release of Juwan Taylor last week, so we'll see what happens over these next couple of days here. The new league year starts on Wednesday, so we'll have final answers then. But right now, man, getting ready to go into the course of the offseason, knowing we haven't seen Travis Kelce's last game at Arrowhead Stadium. That tunnel run out you saw just a moment ago, that was that one. He took an extra pause there and kind of looked at the crowd, and I think a lot of people at the time were thinking, man, he's really soaking in his last game here. He wasn't. Getting ready for another full year. So what we're still waiting to learn right now are the details of that contract. So is it another single-year deal? The last one he signed was a 2-year deal. Are we looking at a multi-year extension? So those details have yet to come out. I'll be really curious to see how that shapes up. I would anticipate a 1-year deal, but a lot of people anticipated we'd be getting a retirement announcement this week. So who knows?
And it's funny you mentioned just how he took a pause here. In the intro, I talked about how he is no stranger to the spotlight. He's a showman in some ways, so I think he kind of knew what he was doing in that moment, you know, trying to create that cliffhanger of will he, won't he? So I'm just glad we finally got that answer. But have you heard anything lately about Patrick Mahomes and how he's doing as the league year is getting ready to start?
Yeah, you know, we heard from the team's VP of Sports Medicine and Performance, Rick Burkholder, and he talked about a 9-month recovery, give or take 1 or 2 months. So that really gives us a 7 to 11 month time range. However, he said Mahomes typically attacks these recoveries. He's been through nothing as serious as an ACL in his pro career, but he's had multiple ankle issues, high sprains. He had that patellar dislocation. He attacks these rehabs and generally ends up being kind of on the short end of those recovery timelines. The hope is for a week 1 return. If not, you would anticipate in the first couple of weeks. The mid-December tear gets him to mid-August with that timeline that we talked about. The season starts in early September. So with the timing of when that injury happened, he could return for week 1. If not, I would anticipate, a very early return this season. The question now is who kind of fills in the gap and carries this team through the offseason in the quarterback room, which I also anticipate will get an answer in the next couple of days here.
And what would your outlook be, say, for instance, we don't get that week 1 outlook that we would like to have where Mahomes and Kelsey are there together? How do you think that it could look if Patrick Mahomes isn't ready that first week?
Yeah, I imagine the Chiefs will bring in a veteran guy here. Again, probably soon. Gardner Minshew was on that 1-year deal. Unfortunately, he also suffered an injury kind of towards the end of the season, not as serious as we anticipated or kind of originally feared. I do think the Chiefs will bring in a veteran guy here over the next couple days, couple weeks, over the course of free agency, and that's what they've liked to do in the past too, bringing in Blaine Gabbert, bringing in Gardner Minshew, bringing in all these guys that Mahomes has had as backups in recent years, is a veteran presence who Mahomes can bounce ideas off of and lean off of, and who is ready to step up in case, the worst happens as it did this year. So anticipate that signing coming up soon because, one, the Chiefs need to be ready to go in week 1 if Patrick Mahomes is not, with a guy they feel comfortable leading this offense. But 2, you have the entirety of OTAs, training camp, rookie minicamp, mandatory minicamp. I mean, you have all these workouts where you need a guy on the field who can lead these guys and get them prepped for the upcoming season.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure a lot of people are excited about this. And I know you in the sports department have a lot of work to do today as it pertains to this. But just for our viewers, you can definitely keep up to date on the story on our website, KCTV5.com. We have it listed here. Also follow our social media channels. I know Marlia has been working on her post to get up there to give you guys the latest details. But again, just a very exciting morning here in Kansas City as we have heard that there is that Travis Kelce will be returning for a 14th season, according to Ian Rappaport, who is an NFL reporter. So we've gotten the answer we've been looking for a while. So anything else you want to leave us with, Marlia, before I let you go get to work?
No, I would just say stay with us. As we mentioned, we're still working on figuring out a number of things. What does this mean for the cap space? What does this contract look like? How many years are we talking here? I say years, it could be singular. So stay with us all day. We're already efforting those answers to those questions. But the big one is we're not doing a Travis Kelce retirement special today. We're talking about next year. Yep.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Marlia,
thanks for having
some
me.
of your time. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we will continue on with your news headlines. Thank you for staying with us here on KCTV5 Plus. And here, just to remind you, if you weren't with us a few minutes ago, that we have some breaking news this morning. One of the biggest lingering questions in Chiefs Kingdom finally answered, according to NFL reporter Ian Rappaport. Tight end Travis Kelce will stay with the Chiefs and play for a 14th season. We are going to continue to stay on top of this story all day here on KCTV5 Plus on air and also on our website, kctv5.com. Also, be sure to follow us on social media as well as we continue to work to get all your questions answered about what's next after this, especially as we were waiting to hear what this answer was going to be as we were getting closer to the free agency. But let's go ahead and jump into our local news headlines today. All right, so let's start with the latest. If you were around on Friday night, you probably received a notification to your phone about a tornado warning, and there was one moving through the Kansas City metro. The National Weather Service says an EF0 touched down near Lake Quivira in Shawnee just after 11:30 p.m., tracking nearly 8 miles east through Merriam and into Westport before lifting. Peak winds hit 75 miles per hour, and no one was hurt. Damage was mostly limited to trees. All right, and also after hours of evacuations, shutdowns, and delays, KCI is back open this morning, but yesterday afternoon, it was a bit of a different story. A bomb threat just before noon forced passengers onto the tarmac and also kept others trapped on their planes. Flights were grounded. Highway exits to the airport were shut down, and K-9 units flagged a suspicious vehicle in the parking garage. The bomb and arson spent 3 hours investigating before giving the all clear. FBI Director Kash Patel agreed, pointing on X that the threat was not credible. A Kansas City family, they are back home this morning after the war in the Middle East left them stranded and in need of help. Their congresswoman stepped in, and now the family is sharing their story to make sure others in the same situation know that they have options. And it's not just the Middle East, and stock markets are feeling the impacts. You will too, especially the next time you pull up to the pump, which is where our Maya Engel is this morning.
Continue to climb in Missouri and Kansas amid the ongoing war in Iran. I am at the Quick Trip here on Warnall and 103rd in Kansas City, Missouri, where we're looking at about $2.99 per gallon for regular unleaded. That is the state average in Missouri. Over in Kansas, you're going to pay about $2.92 on average for a gallon of regular unleaded. Now, those prices are about 40 to 50 cents higher than what we saw last month. So that means you could be paying around $8, $9 more each trip than you were just a month ago. Now, take a look at the diesel price here, too. $4.39 for a gallon of diesel fuel. The state average is $4.01 a gallon in Missouri, but just a week ago, that average was $3.43. And you might be thinking, I don't buy diesel. I'm okay. I don't need to worry about that. But believe it or not, the rise in the cost of diesel fuel can impact what you buy at the store every day. So all of the goods in your home, most of them come from a diesel-powered truck or ship. And so when the price of diesel fuel increases, that cost can sometimes be passed on to you. So that means you could be paying more for your groceries and your everyday household items.
And that was our Maya Engel reporting. And so we want to return to the story here about a local family that just returned from Iran. Here's their story.
For most people, a trip to the pharmacy is routine. But for one Kansas family, it became a matter of urgency halfway around the world.
No matter how much you plan, things are going to be out of your control.
Laura and her husband Adam had been traveling in the UAE when the attack on Iran changed everything. Their trip home was delayed, and Laura had a medical need that couldn't be met there.
The first thing that went through my mind was her medication, because it is such a big part of her life. And then how do we get them out safely? How on earth do we get them out?
Her mom says she made a call to Congresswoman Sharice David's office. She tells us they worked with the State Department to flag the emergency and secure the couple a flight. And Fulgham says the experience taught her something she wants every family to know.
Very often things are out of your control. But what I want everyone to know is, if you, I don't care what state you're in, there are services available to the American public that we don't maybe necessarily know.
Congresswoman David says Lauren Adams' story is a reminder of what's at stake for real people caught in the middle of a global crisis.
I feel like this is one of those areas where you really see how much we're talking about real people. You know, Laura and Adam are real Kansans who are stuck in a situation that they did not ask to be in. And I'm just so relieved and glad that they're back home.
Now, Congresswoman Davids tells us that she is expecting to visit the family at some point later on this week, but she also tells us that she's still working to help other Kansas families who are in this similar situation. Reporting in Shawnee, Ali Espinosa, KCTV5 News.
And now we want to turn to some additional breaking news here. So the 7th U.S. soldier to die due to fighting in the Middle East has been identified. The Army identified him as Sergeant Benjamin Pennington of Glendale, Kentucky. The 26-year-old worked with Army Space and Missile Defense Command. He was injured on March 1st during an attack by the Iranian regime on U.S. troops at Prince Sultan Air Base in Saudi Arabia. That attack is separate from the strike in Kuwait, the same day that killed 6 soldiers. We will have more on this in about the next 15 minutes or so stay with us. All right, so let's turn back to some local news here. So it's been more than 48 hours since a man was gunned down in Midtown Kansas City, and police still don't have answers. 34-year-old Jose Poole was found behind an apartment building on Baltimore Avenue near Westport Road around 2 a.m. early Saturday. Police believe he got into some kind of confrontation with one or more people before the shooting. If you know something, call the TIPS hotline. That number is 816-474-TIPS. A young man is dead and another fighting for his life after an incident at the Jackson County Jail this weekend. Staff discovered the 2 inmates unresponsive during a bed check early Saturday morning. The 22-year-old did not survive. The 42-year-old remains in critical condition. What happened inside that housing unit is still under investigation. Kansas is now part of a growing movement to put a clock on Congress. Lawmakers passed a bipartisan resolution last week, making Kansas the 13th state to call for a national convention on congressional term limits. 34 states are needed to trigger a convention. Advocates say the push is less about holding a convention and more about forcing Congress to act on its own. Should Missouri have any role over choosing life or death of an inmate convicted of a crime? Well, that's the tough question lawmakers will debate today with the introduction of a bill to ban the death penalty, something Missouri has used for more than 200 years. KCTV5's Gabby Luma joins us from the newsroom with more on that push.
Argue the state can't guarantee never executing an innocent person, and they can also not justify the rising costs of taxpayers. But opponents say the move would mean less justice for some victims' families. The new bill would stop the death penalty for any future cases, but existing sentences would remain unless otherwise modified by law. Now, this new bill would say the state shouldn't have the power to take a life. Opponents counter the punishment exists for the only most violent crimes, and appeals already protect against mistakes. A public discussion of the bill will be held today in Jefferson City at 2 p.m. That's where bill organizers will discuss arguments from both sides with state faith leaders. Debate on the bill starts afterwards. From the newsroom, Gabby Luma, KCTV5 News.
All right, across the state line, Kansas does have the death penalty on the books, but there hasn't been an execution carried out there since 1965. But now there are efforts to repeal the death penalty in the Sunflower State. Senate Bill 245 and House Bill 2272 are both under consideration. However, neither bill has seen movement since last year. The Kansas Department of Corrections says the death penalty can cost you, the taxpayer, significantly more than life imprisonment. And speaking of Kansas laws, there is a new Kansas law that is affecting transgender residents, and it is sparking some controversy there. It has been put on hold, at least for now. Kansas Attorney General Chris Kobach agreed Friday to pause enforcement of the law for 20 days. It requires people to use bathrooms based on their sex at birth in government buildings. It also invalidates updated driver's licenses and birth certificates. It took effect last month after lawmakers overrode the governor's veto. A judge is expected to rule on a temporary restraining order tomorrow. And staying in Kansas, if you use Kratom, your access to it in the state could be gone entirely. The Kansas Senate passed a statewide banned 33 to 5, which would put kratom in the same category as heroin and LSD. This comes just weeks after Kansas City banned synthetic kratom and restricted natural kratom sales to adults 21 and older. The House takes it up on Wednesday. Let's get back to some Chiefs news, shall we? So their move to Kansas, it's continuing to progress. While a new bill could be the final piece of the puzzle, a Kansas lawmaker introduced a bill Friday to create a 9-member state authority to oversee the Chiefs' planned stadium in KCK and facilities in Olathe. Supporters say publicly owning the stadium protects Kansas taxpayers and locks the team in. But not everyone agrees. Some lawmakers, they want to know what's in it for everyday Kansans. A joint hearing is set for tomorrow in Topeka. Well, Big 12 men's basketball takes over Kansas City this week in the bracket. It has something for everyone local. K-State tips off tomorrow at 6 as the 15th seed facing BYU. KU sits comfortably as the 3 seed with a double bye. And the Jayhawks, they don't play until Thursday night at 8. If their opponent will be Oklahoma State, Colorado, or TCU, the teams that KU have already handled this year. So shouldn't be too hard for them. Well, the Big 12 women's tournament was a show inside the showdown of games on the court. KCTV5's Katie Marr, she takes us inside T-Mobile Center with everything that fans got to experience.
The women's basketball tournament came to an end on Sunday with the championship game between TCU and West Virginia. Here's what the day looked like at T-Mobile Center. Less than an hour before tip-off here, and the Fan Fest was packed. From dance parties at Power and Light to a long line for tattoos, Pop-A-Shot, DJs, Grand Boulevard was giving families in attendance an awesome day out. Everyone getting their photo fix in the KC letters, and the Big 12 even put out the championship trophy for viewing. The game itself may have been between TCU and West Virginia, but there were still plenty of fans outside those schools in attendance, including this Sunflower State duo.
This is sport women's basketball, really, so they deserve fans too.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day. Why not come down there? That K-Stater especially loved the Cinderella run her Cats went on this week.
Yeah, just a little, they just need a little more gas, but it was awesome. So much fun to watch.
But this was why everyone was here. The game, West Virginia dethroned the reigning champs 62 to 53, and the Big 12 confetti filled the arena. The tournament being played in KC made the win even sweeter for head coach Mark Kellogg.
My mom passed away, end of December. She's from Missouri. I coached a year at Maryville at Northwest Missouri State. Both of my parents are from the state of Missouri. So to come back here, she would have been here. Obviously, she loved every second of this. So that's just some of the emotions that I guess are kind of flooded here because you work so hard.
With the week's attendance all tallied up, the conference announced this was their most attended women's basketball tournament in history.
Kansas City, just amazing job, you guys here in the city. It's our third time here. It's just first class, and the venue, the hotels, everything. Our program has absolutely loved it.
Just one day off before the men's tournament restarts all the fun on Tuesday. In KCMO, Katie Marr, KCTV5 Sports.
Thank you for staying with us here on KCTV5 Plus. Now to your national and international headlines this morning. Slain Ayatollah Khamenei's son has been named as the country's next supreme leader. This comes amid continuing strikes on Iran and its retaliatory strikes on Israel and other targets in the Middle East. Reed Binion reports.
Well, I think it is unfortunate. Everyone was waiting to see who would be the next supreme leader. Now we know.
Former CIA Director General David Petraeus weighing in on the implications of Iran's selection of its new supreme leader. Mujtaba Khamenei is the second son of former Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, who was killed in the U.S. and Israel's opening strikes in the war.
We assume that he will be a continuation of what his father was, which is a very hardline ideological cleric.
President Donald Trump has said he would view Mujtaba Khamenei's elevation to supreme leader as, quote, unacceptable. Amid continuing strikes on Iran, Israel vowed Sunday to target whoever succeeded the late Ayatollah. Iran also continuing its strikes on Israel and other targets in the Middle East. Meanwhile, U.S. officials announced the death of another U.S. service member in the war. U.S. Central Command says the service member died from severe injuries received during Iran's initial attacks across the Middle East. This is the 7th U.S. service member killed in action during Operation Epic Fury. The announcement came just one day after the dignified transfer of the remains of the 6 other troops killed in the first days of the war with Iran. I'm Reed Binion reporting.
Stock market is continuing on its losing streak today. The Dow opened down 1.1%. The broader S&P 500 fell 0.9%. That comes after a terrible week, which was the worst for the Dow since April and the S&P since October. Oil prices, they've climbed above $100 a barrel over the weekend, spooking investors. Also, Iran announced that the supreme leader's son will now be the next leader. That defiant move suggests the conflict may not end anytime soon. And speaking of oil prices, gas prices, they've been climbing since the start of the U.S.-Israeli strikes on Iran. And this morning, we're hearing from President Trump on the spike, which he says is short-term. While almost everyone is feeling pain at the pump, one state in particular is being hit especially hard. CBS News' Jarrett Hill has the latest from New York.
At gas stations coast to coast, Americans are feeling new pain at the pump.
Everybody got bills and stuff. Now the gas is going way back up again.
Skyrocketing oil and gas prices as the U.S.-Israeli conflict with Iran is strangling the flow of tankers through the Strait of Hormuz, that critical waterway through which about a fifth of the world's oil flows. Oil topped $100 a barrel overnight for the first time in 4 years. The national average for a gallon of regular is now about $3.45, up nearly 50 cents over the past week. But in California, AAA reports more than $5 a gallon.
I'm paying $40, but that doesn't get me a full tank anymore.
Petroleum industry analysts on why California has it particularly tough.
A unique market that is essentially cut off from the rest of the country.
The state has the highest gas tax in the nation, requires a cleaner, more expensive fuel blend, and 2 major refineries were shut down due to high operating costs. Sunday evening, President Trump downplayed the spike in oil and gas costs, calling it a very small price to pay on social media. Energy Secretary Chris Wright on Face the Nation.
They shouldn't go much higher than they are here because the world is very well supplied with oil.
Meanwhile, some are already changing their habits.
Part of the reason why I have my bike here is because it's cheaper.
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer is urging the White House to tap into the nation's strategic oil reserve. The White House said only if it's needed. Jared Hill, CBS News.
The U.S. military has once again attacked a suspected drug trafficking boat in the eastern Pacific Ocean. Sunday's attack killed 6 people. That's according to U.S. Southern Command. Officials say the boat was traveling along a known drug trafficking route in the eastern Pacific. The U.S. claims the people on the boat were involved in a drug operation. The United States has conducted dozens of strikes in the Caribbean Sea and the eastern Pacific Ocean since last September. At least 157 people have been killed in those attacks. And now to New York, where 2 people were arrested after 2 bomb-like devices were ignited outside the New York City mayor's mansion. The devices were thrown as tension escalated Saturday between 2 opposing protest groups. New video shows the moment one of the devices was thrown. An anti-Islam protest organized by right-wing influencer and pardoned January 6th rioter Jake Lang drew nearly 20 participants. A counter-protester called Drive the Nazis out of New York was attended by about 125 people. The NYPD says at least one of the devices was an improvised explosive capable of causing serious injury or death. 6 people in total were arrested in connection with the events that unfolded between the groups. No injuries were reported. We're learning new details about a scary attack on Rihanna's home. Police say a suspect shot multiple times at the pop superstar's Beverly Hills mansion. A source tells the LA Times Rihanna was home but unharmed. Officers took a suspect into custody. Carter Evans has the story.
Los Angeles police are investigating a shooting at the Beverly Hills home of 9-time Grammy winner Rihanna.
Approximately 10 shots heard and an unknown person shouting.
The shooting happened Sunday around 1:15 local time. Police say the suspect, a woman in her 30s, parked her car, a white Tesla, outside Rihanna's home and fired at least 7 gunshots before speeding off. Aerial footage showed multiple gunshot holes in the gate outside the home. Investigators say they also found assault rifle casings.
I was just washing dishes in my house and I heard shots. And I was a little shocked. You know, we don't hear that kind of thing in this neighborhood.
Police say they arrested the suspect without incident after finding her car at a shopping center about 8 miles from the singer's home. Rihanna, whose real name is Robin Rihanna Fenty, hit the scene in the early 2000s with popular songs like Umbrella and Diamonds. Since then, she's built a successful business empire with her beauty brand Fenty. She and her partner, rapper A$AP Rocky, have been together since 2020 and have 3 children. Security's now posted up outside here, and they've covered up the bullet holes on the gate with white tape. There is still no word on a motive. Carter Evans, CBS News, Los Angeles.
All right, and spring break is just about here, and millions of Americans, they're planning trips that will head to Florida. But as Christian Benavidez reports, destinations there are looking to welcome those who are looking to party responsibly.
At Mango's Tropical Cafe on South Beach, owner David Wallach says he's hoping for change this spring break.
What are we going to do to reverse the depression?
We're breaking up with you.
In 2024, Miami Beach successfully called it quits with spring break after seasons of violent and unruly crowds.
Well, that's a wonderful thing. Who do you then attract with a different demographic to now fill in? Remember, March is a month where everyone pays half of their year's expenses.
So now the city's working to balance law and order with cautiously pulling back certain rules.
Loosening up the restrictions doesn't mean a return to the past. Miami Beach is looking to shift the focus to health and wellness in hopes of attracting a different crowd.
Green juice?
The city's planning marathons, high-intensity workouts, even yoga. As Miami Beach opens up, Panama City Beach on the Florida Panhandle is cracking down.
Play stupid games, you're going to win stupid prizes.
That city has told unruly spring breakers they're not welcome after online flyers called for a beach takeover. Across Florida, authorities are on high alert. The trade group Airlines for America forecasts 171 million passengers over the spring break travel period.
So people are still spending money on travel, but they're really going to be focused on value.
Sherry Young is a hospitality and travel expert.
The hotels, the resorts, they've really had to try to control their increases in price.
And Miami Beach may have some deals to be found as business owners look to welcome tourists back responsibly. Christian Benavides, CBS News, Miami Beach.
The toll recreational drugs take on your health and how a mammogram can potentially catch other diseases besides breast cancer. Michael George has the day's top health stories.
AI analysis of mammograms can predict if someone is at risk for serious or fatal heart disease. Researchers at Emory University found that AI programs can look at a standard X-ray mammography scan and detect the buildup of calcium in the breasts, which is linked to the risk of heart attacks, strokes, and death. With this technology, researchers say breast cancer screenings could also be used to detect cardiovascular disease. Racial disparities in food insecurity exist in both low and high-income homes. A study published in JAMA found that food insecurity, which means limited or uncertain access to adequate and nutritious food, is particularly high among the Black and Native American communities. The study's authors say this shows that income isn't the only factor that contributes to inequalities in access to food. Recreational drugs like cannabis, cocaine, and amphetamines can greatly increase the risk of stroke. A University of Cambridge study found that cocaine and amphetamines double the risk of a stroke, and even cannabis increases the stroke risk by a third. Researchers also found the risk increased even for younger users of drugs. Those are some of the day's top health stories. Michael George, CBS News.
Yep, another night at the bar.
But not a typical night, as an unexpected musical competition breaks out in the Oscar-nominated short, The Singers.
I'll never forget my first conversation with my producers when I said, hey, I want to adapt an 1850 Russian short story. I want to make it without a script, starring all first-timers who we find on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube. And I want to shoot it on 35mm film.
Two people exchanging saliva imagines a dystopian Paris where goods are purchased by receiving slaps to the face, while kissing and other intimacy is banned, and transgressors are removed from society for good.
At its core, it's a very universal human story about connection in a world of repression.
Because that's one of the things about governments and religions. They've often wanted to constrict and control romantic love.
Will you do me the honor of... You're bleeding.
No.
You're hurt.
A very different romance finds a proposal interrupted in Jane Austen's period drama.
I started early. Stab her in the leg.
The writing of it was, I mean, just such a joy. And especially being a duo, a writing directing duo, like one of the joys of being a duo is we just make each other laugh the whole time. And if something makes both of us laugh, then we're like, oh, that should probably stay in there.
You did what? What do I do?
In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.